Welcome back to my YouTube channel, everybody. This week I got an absolute bargain. I got a little cubby house, €25 second hand. It's one of those like plastic toy houses, and I know I already have done a toy house. I done one for my niece and nephew, a wooden one, I think like 2 years ago, and it's in their garden. I had no kind of like toys in the garden, and with the kids going to be breaking up from school and summer break, I thought it would, well, first of all, I just wanted to upcycle one. My inner child, and secondly, it doubles up as having like something in the garden that's cute that they can play in and not wreck my house. I'm gonna get straight into the video and then we can have the chats after. Here is a little before of the cubby house. Like I said, I got this second hand for €25. These are kind of quite pricey still on second hand sites. I think they retail at like over €200, but the second hand ones were like still 100, 150. So when I found this one for €25, I snapped it up. I didn't even haggle on the price. I was like, I will take that and I will collect that. As this is plastic, we will need to do a bit of prep before painting. So the first thing I'm doing is I'm giving it a good power wash, because it was full of like stickers that were peeling off, but also it was full of bugs, because like all things in the garden, full of bugs, especially underneath of the roof, which wasn't too pleasant. I'm going to use some of the Autentico Omni-Clean to remove any grime and just give me a good base to start with. So I scrubbed it down after power washing, rinsed off any excess, and I just gave the plastic a light sanding. It's just because plastic is a slightly difficult surface to get paint to stick to, but I'm going to be using the Autentico Versante Matt, and I've used this on a couple of pieces in the garden and I can report that it stands the test of time. I got this paint sprayer a couple of weeks ago. I actually used it to spray my shed, if you saw that video. Now, it was giving me a little bit of hassle today. I think it's because I didn't clean it properly when I used it the last time. So I had to like remove everything, clean it, check for any like dry bits of paint, and then I managed to get it working. But it was a little temperamental, but I think I only paid like €50 for this, and I've used it a couple of times and it has definitely saved my hands. So I highly recommend, especially for a project like this where to paint by hand would take me a little bit longer, considering you're about to see that I'm painting all of the bricks. So to save on time, the sprayer definitely worked, and one of the perks of being small is I get to fit inside, which made it handy for spraying the inside of the cubby house. For the roof and for the bricks on the side, I'm using a colour called Bologna bricks? Bologna. I'm not sure if I'm saying that correctly. So I sprayed the roof, and then I used an old makeup foundation brush to paint all of the bricks back onto the cubby house. I just loved the brick detail and I wanted to like bring it out and like use it. I just think it's very cute and it can look very cottagey. So I'm applying this paint with an old makeup brush, and as I had sprayed the whole cubby house, I didn't have to like do the whites in between the bricks. So this bit was a little bit time consuming. It took me about 2 hours, I think, to paint on all of the bricks, but pop on a podcast, a sunny day, and it's definitely worth it. When it came to the doors and the details, I had a couple of tester pots, so I was just making a decision on the colour. Now you'll see that I went for the lighter rose pink, but now when I'm looking back on this video, I'm like, the darker kind of colour might have looked nicer and been a nicer contrast. So, well, you know what, it's okay because I have that tester pot of paint, and if I change my mind, I can just update it. But again, using old makeup brushes to paint on the details. So I painted the windows inside and out, and the door front and back in a pinky shade. I think it's called Rose actually, and it's a lovely shade. I've actually used this on other pieces in my house, and it's very girly, and I think it gives it a nice contrast. I wanted to add some little details, and I wanted to make a little no junk mail sign for the box because I just thought it'd be so cute. There's also a little gap where there was a sticker from it originally, so I just printed off on some vinyl. I just gave it a name. I was going to give it a number, and I was like, no, let's be bougie and let's just call it the Cottage. So I printed this off on my vinyl. For some reason, the of the Cottage, the E just would not cut out, so I didn't have the time to fiddle around with trying to get it to work. So you'll notice that the E, it looks like it needs to be weeded out, but it didn't actually cut, so that's why that looks a little odd. But I think to the untrained eye, you wouldn't notice. So I am delighted with the cubby house. Now the painting the bricks was a little torturous, but if you put on a good podcast, you know, it's kind of therapeutic after a while. And I definitely recommend using an old makeup brush to do the brick, and then spraying it first, so you're not doing the lines of the brick, you're just painting the brick. I think it looked quite cute. Kind of has like maybe Tuscany vibes with the colour of the brick, or Victorian vibes, you know, with the little brick houses. I don't know. The little house is very girly because it's in my garden, but both my niece and nephew will play in it. My nephew's not kind of fussy. I did their playhouse kind of like neutral for like boy and girl, but this one is like very girly. So it sits really like neatly underneath the window with the little plants around it and like next to the olive tree, and the cats can use it as well to like sunbathe in. So I think it'll get lots of use during the summer anyway in the garden for when they're over. It was sunny last week and we had like the swimming pool, and my nephew was playing in the woodland area. If you missed last week's video, I made like a little mini woodland because my nephew's obsessed with like digging insects and stuff. So that's kind of his corner in the garden. Yeah, and my niece is more like, not delicate, that's not the word, but she's more wants to kind of like play but not get too dirty or too wet or too cold. Anyway, that is me for this week. I will put the link to the other cubby house video if you want to check that out. And yeah, please share if you enjoy, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Cheeky thumbs up, and I'll see you all in next week's video.